I want to get into Bitcoin.
Yeah, for sure. I've always thought about kind of doing a coin, but I haven't been able to do one. This other guy launches a coin, calls it Bitcoin, asked me to retweet it. I retweeted it. 20x is overnight. So I tweeted about it, and then I went to sleep. I was in Amsterdam, actually. Yeah. And I woke up, and I looked at my MetaMask wallet, and I didn't have very much. It was less than Ethereum's worth than I had. Mm-hmm. And I opened it up, and I was like, what do I have that's 20 Ethereum in here?
All right, welcome back to the Digital Social Hour, guys. I'm your host, Sean Kelly, here with my co-host, Wayne Lewis.
What up, what up?
And our guest today, crypto expert, Bitboy.
What's up?
How's it going, man?
Bitboy in the building.
That's right, man. Barely made it here. A little late, guys. It's my bad. But, yeah, man, we're excited to be here and talk about, everything going on in my world. And we've got Bitcoin, we've got the channel, we've got crypto. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on with the economy and the government. And, love to get into it.
So start where you want to start.
Where do I want to start, man?
Shoot it.
I guess, for most people that are watching this, I don't know how well-versed people are in crypto, but it's one of these things where right now it seems like everybody's against crypto right now.
You think so?
Well, from a government perspective.
From a government
perspective, and what you're seeing is like, one of my favorite lines from a book ever. I'm not a huge reader. I read a lot when I was a kid, but it was from Tale of Two Cities. Someone misquoted it as Ernest Hemingway. It's not. It's Charles Dickens. It was the best times. It was the worst of times. And it's from the book Tale of Two Cities. And the whole point is getting ready to move into the French Revolution. You've got the elite, the people that have money. They're so high above everybody else. But the people that are downtrodden, the people that don't have money, they're way down at the floor. And so what it did is create this dynamic where it's like a us versus them dynamic on both sides. And that's what led to the French Revolution. And then, led to a lot of other stuff outside of that. What people don't realize is we're going through the same thing in America right now. Like the gap between who has and who has not, it's never been wider than it is right now. I can't remember the exact stat, what they based it off of, but I was getting my hair cut the other day, and the fresh cut, but the lady that was cutting my hair, I was listening to her conversation with some other people, and when you're like an expert in something, or you're super well versed, and you hear just normal people talking about the subject, it's hard to kind of bite your tongue. I mean, They were talking about, do you think that people in the Great Depression knew they were in the Great Depression? That was the question they asked, and they're like, oh yeah, definitely. Oh, they knew it was really bad, and they knew they were in the Great Depression, and they might not have known exactly what it was called, but oh yeah, they were very poor. Do you know today the stats of income inequality are worse than they were during the Great Depression?
Really?
The average salary compared to the average, sustainable amount of salary that someone would need to, have a family and get all their needs taken care of, it's less than it's ever been. Like we're technically in a worse spot salary-wise for the average American than we were during the Great Depression. And people don't realize that, but you see it though. You see it in, when you watch TV, we see like, Real Housewives, you see the lives that a lot of these really super rich people live. And, I live a super rich life, but just 3 years ago I was poor, so
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
3 years ago, you were poor?
4 years ago. 4 years ago. Yeah. 2019. Yeah. We can talk about that in a minute, but, the whole thing is that, you see the lavish lifestyle people are living. Come here to Vegas, and you see what people are doing out here, and staying in the suites and all this, and then you go like,
do you have a ton of long form content that you want to turn into short form, or are you looking to make short form out of other people's content? Well, Opus Pro has you covered. It's a website I've used since I've started the podcast, and some of the clips have gone on to generate millions of views. They make it very easy for you. All you got to do is put in a YouTube link. It spits out 20 to 30 clips, ranks them by a score on how well they'll do on social media. And some of these have the potential to go viral. And these all came back within 20 minutes. And it even lets you edit a lot of stuff. You can edit the text color, the font. Comes with subtitles to make your life easy. It uses AI technology to spit out these clips. And it's always exciting to see what clips it's going to produce. Now you don't have to spend hours finding a good video editor or a good short form editor. You can use Opus Pro, let its AI do its job, and you just do your job. It saved me so much time, so much money. You can see here in this video that it's spitting out all these clips. I'll probably end up posting some of these on my social media channels. Check out the link down below to get a discount on your order, and I'll see you guys soon.
Just to a normal neighborhood, and you see kind of how things are working. People are struggling to pay for groceries. People are looking at gas like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get from here to there? And that's a concern on a lot of people's mind. The inflation is absolutely people. And our government, they set us up on a tee and they just hit us with the bat.
Right.
Said, oh, there's no inflation. It's not coming. It's, famous Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, said it's transitory, meaning like it's going to pass really quick. And now we see where we're at with the interest rates. And that's not even to mention all the other stuff going on in the world, including, do you guys know what the BRICS nations are?
I know what the BRICS was.
Yeah, heard of it.
Yeah.
Brazil, Russia.
Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Yeah. So this is basically the dual economy that's popping up in the world right now, to where they're saying we're not going to use dollars, we're going to use our own currency. And so Janet Yellen, who's the Secretary of the Treasury, she came out and said, oh yeah, we already kind of know, like, yeah, we think we are losing the power of the dollar as the world reserve currency. And when I went to Dubai recently, everybody in Dubai, that's what they're talking about, these BRICS nations. Guys, our economy in America is dead. Like, I hate to just say it outright like that, but when we lose the world reserve currency, we're toast. That's the only thing that gives us power.
Wow.
That's what gives America power. It's not, look at our technology ranks. Look at our, production and our manufacturing ranks. Like, we're not very high. Look at our education ranks. We're not very high. We almost don't do anything well in America anymore. But the thing, be independent, that's one thing, people still do here compared to other places in the world. But when you really break that down and you really try to look at what makes America the superpower, it's just the world reserve currency. It means that every country in the world has to have dollars on hand. So they're constantly buying dollars from our supply. And that is, what makes every country in the world be able to transact between each other. Because just to kind of explain the way international transfers work, if, let's say I'm in Germany and I have euros and I want to send them to Mexico. I got a buddy in Mexico. So I go to my bank in Germany and I say, hey, here's, 1 million euros. I want to send these over to Mexico. What the bank is going to do is the bank is going to take that 1 million euros and they're going to convert it to dollars. And then they're going to transfer the dollars over to Mexico. Mexico is going to receive the dollars and then transact that into pesos. I guess that's what they use still. At least when I was a kid, that's what they used. And then the person on the other end is going to receive the pesos. So every transaction in the world that goes cross-border involves dollars. When we lose that, and there's no reason for the rest of the world to kind of prop up our currency anymore. Because because of our inflation rates, we should have already faced much bigger problems. But we haven't, because the rest of the world props up our dollar. Because if the dollar fails, all the currencies of the world fail. The way it's currently set up. But now we have the BRICS nations rising up. They have something to fall back onto, which is another currency. And that the BRICS nations have already said, hey, we're even interested in looking at Bitcoin backing our currency.
Wow.
So, that's kind of a big deal for Bitcoin. But I've really been weighing out. We were talking about Dubai a little bit before we went live here. And I've been weighing out, should I move my family out to Dubai? And it's like, you have this government pressure and where people like me feel like we could be facing the Salem witch trials on crypto. It's like, we didn't do anything wrong, but it doesn't matter. We're in crypto. The government doesn't like crypto, so they may come after us. Right. So I'm trying to decide, is that the best thing for me and my family is to move to a place like Dubai where we're free and we don't have to worry about that.
But are you free out there though?
Yeah.
They love crypto there.
Let me tell you this.
No, but I'm saying, is it free in the sense of
no tax?
Is any nation free? Is any country free? Are you free out there?
It feels more free.
It feels more.
It feels more free.
So when you were out there, you felt free.
Oh yeah. Especially from someone from the crypto world. Now it's a lot different out there. I went out there in October of last year. And I went to the pool and I came back in from the pool and and had my shirt on. I walked inside. Let me tell you, you do not walk inside a place without a shirt on in Dubai or any Middle Eastern country. All of a sudden, these guys come out of every corner running no, sir, this is a Muslim country. You're not allowed to be without a shirt on. And I'm just I'm looking at the glass door and all the people without shirts on. And I'm looking at them. I'm looking at me. And they try to cover me with a sheet. And I was like, nah, guys, the elevator's right there. I'll just go to my hotel room and I'll get a shirt on. It won't happen again. So there are definitely some things, you don't want to get in trouble over there. You don't, people over in, other countries, not just the United States, or excuse me, not just Dubai, but anywhere outside the United States, that people pretty much follow the law. You'll be sitting there at an intersection walking across the street and it's red, you know you shouldn't walk. There's not a car coming anywhere. What are you going to do? You're going to walk.
Yeah.
Other people in other countries don't do that.
Really?
They wait.
Wow.
They will sit there and they will wait until it turns green, and then they will go, even if there's not a car in sight. And so in Dubai, you really get that sense too. Like a lot of the people there, like they have all these supercars and people don't really speed.
Yeah.
So Carl from the moon, I saw he passed me in a Bugatti one day over there, but he'll speed. But outside of him, you see all these Lamborghinis that are just going the speed limit, and it's pretty interesting. But like just to answer the question, like is it free over there? Here's my one concern about Dubai, which is my concern is not their leadership, because I don't know who the sheikh is over there right now. But what I do know is that the way that their government and infrastructure is set up is that if one day they just want to come in and change all the laws, they can do it. Here in America, you know, faulty system or not, we have a process that you have to go through. And then some countries, I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it's Sweden, maybe it's a Norwegian country, to where like it takes them 10 years to change the law.
Jeez.
Once they vote the law in, it takes 10 years for it to go into effect. That way they don't make any rash decisions. That's the thought process. But like you got all this money flowing into Dubai from all around the world. You got Russian oligarchs moving there. You got crypto billionaires moving there. You got people from, you know, all other countries that are feeling like they're being squeezed in terms of crypto moving over there. It's not just crypto. I mean, there's AI, all kinds of stuff that is blowing up over there. But
I've never been there.
Never been.
Yeah. I never been until October, and I've been twice. I'm getting ready to go in a few weeks. So
Wow.
hosting a big yacht party out there. So
Oh wow.
yeah. It's supposed to be the biggest yacht in Dubai. We'll see what happens.
Are we invited?
Yeah, sure.
I want to get on the biggest yacht in the
Yeah.
world.
Well, I think Jeff Bezos may be the biggest one in the world. Biggest one in Dubai, I
The
think.
biggest one in Dubai.
Yeah.
Why do you think the U.S. government hates crypto so much?
Well, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I've said this before. It's not just the government; it's the banking system as well. You can't untie the two. They're the same. The banking system and the government are the same. The banking system runs the government, and these are things I would told you were conspiracies. Like before I got into crypto, like 10 years, or you know, I've been in crypto for 11 years, but before I really started diving into all this, I said, banking system, yeah, they got money, blah 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 blah, but they don't run stuff. No, the banks run the country. The banks have the money, and we all know with any industry, right? Follow the money. When they're in control of the money, they're in control of everything. That's why you had that video, the hidden camera video from the guy who was meeting on behalf of BlackRock, who said, "Oh yeah, we buy the Senator. It's $10,000 Senator. I got you." It's like, what? You know? So it's the kind of thing where, you know, this is a comparison I made on my show. It's kind of like an intervention. Like you ever watch that show Intervention?
Yeah.
So I've actually taken part in some interventions. They're very intense. And, you know, the thing is the addict comes in and sits in the room and first is like, oh man, what's going on here? Like, I know something's up, you know? And then like, you just watch them go through all these emotions. Right. And there's a part in the intervention where they're blaming everybody for all the problems. You know, they're like, no, you did this when I was little, or no, like I was late to work, but you were supposed to wake me up and you didn't, you know? That's what we're seeing the government and the banking system do right now. No, it's crypto's fault. No, it's AI's fault. No, it's this person's fault. The system is failing because the system was always going to fail. A fiat currency system, and so just so everybody understands, like in the world of economics, like we throw these words out, like everybody knows what they mean. Fiat does not mean paper money, right? When you hear the word fiat, a lot of people think like, oh, that's government money. Well, money is actually something that has value, right? So like we go back to, you know, when our currency was backed by gold, it was backed by gold, right? And so then the French came over in like, I think the 60s or 70s, wanted all their gold, and then Nixon had to take us off the gold standard because we didn't have it. That's how we ended up off the gold standard. Once nothing backs your currency, you become fiat currency. So paper money that has no backing, or it could be, you know, metal coin money, same difference. That's fiat currency. And so when we got removed off the gold standard, 1971 is actually when it was. We got removed off of the gold standard. The only thing that gives our money value now is the power of the government. That's it. That's the only thing. The power of the government. And how do you quantify that? How do you make that tangible? You can't really, right? You can't. It's not really a thing. So our currency now that's the reason why they just print it, right? Like they haven't been printing in a couple of years for the most part. During COVID, they printed out of control. We printed, I think it was like, I want to say it's like 60% of the money supply in like a few years. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. And now you see it when you go buy milk or eggs or whatever the case may be. And so the fact that you have this currency that isn't backed by anything, that you can just press a button and print more of, that's the entire problem. It's always going, and you can look back in history. It's just like anything else. It's like communism, right? How many times have people tried communism in the history of the world, right? And you had Marx, who came out in I guess it would have been in the, I don't know, 1700s or 1800s when he wrote the manifesto. I don't know exactly when he wrote it, but there are other versions of this that were tried even before him. Right. And you can't, because like at the end of the day, like people are selfish, right? People are selfish, and that's why a system like communism will never work, right? Well, we've tried this fiat currency thing forever. For the history of the world, we've seen different iterations of this. Just like communism, it always ends the same way. And if you go back, you look at the Greeks and you look at the Romans. Those are two great examples. A lot of people compare the American empire to those two empires, mainly. The Roman Empire, the most successful empire in the history of the world. And a lot of people will point to all kinds of different reasons why it collapsed. They say sexual immorality, like, they push the border of like, you get to a place, you can see this in America too, where there's no truth, right? Like there's no definitive, like this is right, this is wrong. Everything is kind of in the middle, and that's, you're not grounded in anything. So there's definitely some truth to that we've seen in these other empires and their falls, right? But just like with anything else, follow the money. Right. The money is why they fell, okay? Because inflation, this was so cool when I learned this. Inflation, I didn't know anything about economics before I got into crypto, like literally zero. It was the most boring subject in the world to me. And doing all these videos on all these different subjects, like I've learned so much. One of the coolest things is that if you look back at the Greeks and you look back at the Romans, with their currency, right? What was their currency? They were gold coins, right? So as long as they were gold, they had value. They were backed by the gold that was in the coin. But what happened? Well, population starts getting up. The government starts kind of hoarding some money, and then they're like, man, we don't have enough money. What are we going to do? I got an idea. Let's take some silver and let's put 10% silver in the gold coin. So now you got 90% gold, you got 10% silver. You keep going 100 years. By the end, you have bronze coins with like 1% gold in them, right? There's no more gold left. Yeah. That's inflation. Like that was the version of inflation, back in those empire days. And eventually they got to where their currencies were worthless, the same way that ours is. And so we've seen the story before. We just don't know how and when it ends. Yeah. But the last year has sped this up dramatically. A lot of people would say, and I'd agree with it, Joe Biden single-handedly has caused the downfall of America. Now, I'm not saying this from a political perspective, like I'm going to talk trash about Joe Biden. One decision that Joe Biden made is going to go down as the worst decision in American history, and it's going to destroy the future of economics in this country. Russian sanctions. When he said, we are going to sanction the Russians and they're not going to be able to use dollars, you can't do that with the world reserve currency. It's the baseline for all trading. So when you tell this country, we're going to freeze all your dollars, we're going to freeze all your assets, yes, that country's punished. Great, you punish the country. But what about the people? What are all the countries that do business with that country?
They're friends.
They're friends.
Yeah.
You've effectively punished an entire 25% of the world population, approximately, I'm just making a guess there, by that one decision. And people at the time said, that's crazy, why are you doing that? Then the BRICS nations start rising up. Why are they doing it? Because of the Russian sanctions. Those are all friends with Russia. They all do trade with Russia. Joe Biden single-handedly caused this, and people warned him against it. And so, we could talk about all the ways he's a bad president, but that doesn't matter. This is not about him being a good president or being a bad president. This is literally about one decision that one man or people behind him made, and he said that literally is going to cause the downfall of our entire economy. And in 1 year, how fast have we seen this thing fall? A year ago, are we having conversations about BRICS nations and maybe losing world reserve currency? Absolutely not. So
that's insane. So you think the fix to fiat is crypto?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's a system that we've never had before in the world, because in the history of the world, we've gone through several iterations of currency. We've gone through bartering, which is where people just trade goods and services. Then we have currency. You have gold. Then we had fiat. You got a lot of different things that people have used over the years. Well, this is the first thing we've ever seen in the history of the world that's a technology that's currency.
Yeah.
So it's a different system than we've ever seen before. Like, you know, like communism, we've seen that many times. You know, fiat, we've seen it many times.
And it doesn't discriminate.
It doesn't discriminate. That's the beauty of the system, and that's
transactions are faster. You don't have to go
way
through
faster.
21 or 27 institutions in order to complete one transaction.
Is that how many it is?
Yeah, I think it's up there. It's more than one.
Yeah.
International
Oh,
wide.
yeah, definitely more than one.
Yeah.
I think, you know, one thing I talk a lot about is when I try to compare crypto to you know what the difference is. The easiest way to break it down is to say that like a SWIFT. Like SWIFT is the international bank transfer system, right? Yeah. So earlier when I explained like how you go into the bank, you transfer from Germany to Mexico and the currencies, like that whole process, it takes 5 to 7 days. It's not just like you go in there and do that. Now, they're going to get the transfer done in about 1 to 2 days for the customer to get the funds, but the funds aren't actually rolling into that bank for 5 to 7 days. So the SWIFT is basically the network that we use right now to do those international transfers. But like I said, it takes 5 to 7 days because they're literally just punching in numbers. They're not actually sending anything. That's going to be sent on the back end by other people in other departments, right? So what that means is SWIFT, for instance, or you could look at PayPal, you could look at Venmo. These are all the same. They're networks of information. Information is moved, and then on the back end, money is moved because of that information. Money is not moved when you make an action on PayPal, right? Or you go to your bank and do a transfer. See, Bitcoin and also XRP. XRP is a coin I really like for a lot of different reasons, and it also fits this category, and it's the competitor to SWIFT, the long and the short of it. But we'll talk about Bitcoin for now. It's a network of value. It's not a network of information. So if I use PayPal, and this is the example I use, I don't know about the 21, 27, that probably sounds accurate. But just if we were just to think about it on the simplest terms, if I want to send you a PayPal transaction, okay, I'm going to go to PayPal. So PayPal's involved, right? I'm involved. You're involved. So we have those 3 people right off the bat, okay? I'm going to go to PayPal. I'm going to go to send you money, and I have to select how I want that money to be sent. Whether I want it from my bank account, or let's say I want it from my debit card. So send it from my debit card, okay? So that means my bank is now involved. Now, what logo is on that bank card? A Visa, MasterCard, right?
Yeah.
Credit card processing. Now that person's involved, or that entity. Then the money, I send the money. Now you have to receive the money, so it's got to go through your credit card processing company and your bank. That's 7 people, 7 entities, on the simplest possible way that can be done. 7, the simplest way. Bitcoin. Okay, I want to send you Bitcoin. I get your address.
Send.
Send.
Instant.
Nothing happens on the back end. Instant. Now, there is a third party involved. It's miners, right? Bitcoin miners. So the Bitcoin miners, but it's instantaneous, and it's, you know,
the government wants to keep track of the transactions with Bitcoin. It's so decoded in the sense of like who is this person and why. It's really like they can't really keep the ledger on who's sending what and how to use it. You know what I'm saying? So
they can. That's false.
They can?
Yeah, that's false. That's a common misconception about Bitcoin.
Okay.
So
I'm just saying with the blockchain though.
Yeah.
So they can keep track of the transactions.
They can.
Since when?
Okay. So this is a great question. It's a great question because when Bitcoin started, that was the whole idea.
That was the concept.
That's the concept. Well, but it was also started as a currency, and what have we seen it become more of? Digital gold, right? It's where the value is the appreciating asset. So there's a lot of things about Bitcoin that have changed since the beginning of it, but it's all been cool stuff. It's not like it's gone, you know, like, oh, it's not what we want it to be now. It's great at what it is. But when you look at over time, more and more people got on the network, more and more people started sending transactions. Then you start bringing in these big centralized entities like Coinbase and Binance, right? And they do what's called KYC on their customers. So let's say the government wanted to figure out who did a hack. Let's say there was a hack and the money got sent to Coinbase and Coinbase cashed it out. Well, there's an account with information that's attached to that address. Now, it's called Chainalysis. There's a company called Chainalysis, and there's also a company called, I cannot remember the other big one, but their whole entire job is on-chain analytics and tracking every transaction. And it's kind of like, so I don't want to flex.
So you can't hide them anymore.
Yeah. I don't want to flex. But
if you cash out on a centralized exchange.
Well, it's bigger than that, though.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the gifted program when I was a kid. I don't want to flex on you. Okay? In the 4th grade, every Wednesday, we had this class called Target, and there were those of us in the class that had certain test scores. We would go in there, And the first thing we would do in every single class is we would do a brain teaser. And what it was is it would be a list of names and then a list of like teachers. And you had to figure out which kid was in which class. And they gave you these clues that like didn't even make sense. You know, it was like, little Bobby only goes to school on Tuesdays. And so you keep reading the clues, and then you figure out like, oh, there's only one teacher. They're only teaching on Tuesdays, right? You got to map it out and figure it out. You have such limited information, but there's exactly enough information in there for you to figure out who's who, right? That's kind of what they do at chain analysis, right? So if you cash it on a centralized exchange, sure, like they can get your information. But now if they have one person's information that was with a centralized exchange, they can backtrack every address that person has ever transacted with. And they can slowly build this gigantic web of addresses and names. And that's how they figure out who people are that are making these transactions. Wow. Now, there are specific coins called privacy coins, right? Monero is the oldest, by far the best one. It's the only one that I would feel safe putting my money into. And Monero is a privacy coin, meaning that you cannot, there's no chain analysis with Monero. You absolutely cannot. The government has actually offered, I want to say it was 7 figures. The government has offered as a bounty, like 7 figures, I believe, to anyone who can crack the Monero code.
Wow.
That can figure out a transaction, because they can't figure out one. So Monero works through these things called ring signatures that are pretty cool, which is imagine that 20 of us want to do transactions with each other, right? I want to buy something from you, you want to buy something from him, and we just use the 3 of us here, right? Well, let's say you got 2 people out there, 2 producers out there. They come in here too. We got 5 people. We've got like 5 items we want to send back and forth between each other, okay? What happens is the blockchain, it will show all the way up to that door. We open the door, we come to the door, close the door, we all trade between each other, and we all walk out. Who has what item? Yeah, there's no way to know. There's no way to know. And so that's the way a ring signature works with Monero, is that there's no way to track the address because it does these things in these tiny little groups to where, I mean, it's not tiny, it's not 20, it's a lot more than that transaction. But so there are things to prevent that. But people that use Bitcoin, that's why if you go back to this, was it the Liberty Pipeline? Do you guys remember that thing?
No.
Liberty Pipeline, I think that was what it was called. It was near the peak of the bull run, I think. It might have been like the summer of 2021 maybe. And there was a hack on this pipeline in somewhere in America. And then it caused a bunch of gas problems across the country. And the hackers wanted Bitcoin to release the pipeline back to the government. Government ends up paying it, and they get the pipeline back on and all this stuff. And they said they paid it in Bitcoin. I'm just like, if you're a hacker and you literally were able to hack into the government, steal a gas pipeline, pause it, and you're taking Bitcoin that can be tracked, you're an idiot.
Right.
Like, Monero would have made a lot more sense. There was a lot more sketchy stuff that came out about that story. But
I want to get into Bitcoin.
Yeah, for sure.
What's up with Bitcoin?
Yeah,
man?
so we have our own coin now. So we have a nonprofit.
How did that come about?
Interesting
What's
story.
up with Bitcoin?
Interesting story. So I'm an influencer in America, right? Some people don't like the word influencer. I think it's kind of silly to like be against the word. You know, like people don't like to be considered Kim Kardashian, I think, for whatever reason. But an influencer in America in the world of crypto, like I can't launch my own coin. I can't do a sale. If I did a sale, like that's going to be, government hot water. Now if I moved to Dubai, I could do it no problem. But so I've always thought about kind of doing a coin, but I haven't been able to do one because of that. Well, this other guy launches a coin, calls it Bitcoin, asks me to retweet it. I retweet it. 20X's overnight. It might have been 40. I think it went from like a 400.
He said it might have been 40.
It went from 400 market cap to $20 million, whatever that is. I could do that math, but it was insane. I went to sleep, so I tweeted about it, and then I went to sleep. I was in Amsterdam actually, and I woke up, and I looked at my MetaMask wallet, and I didn't have very much. It was less than Ethereum's worth than I had. And I opened it up, and I was like, "What do I have that's 20 Ethereum in here? So weird." And when I clicked on it, and I was like, "What have I done?" Like, that was my first reaction. It was like I knew that my tweet had done something. I didn't do it for that reason, so I didn't even think about it. I woke up and just checked it. And was like, "Oh no!" So I go to Twitter. This whole thing happened where all these people thought I was launching the coin. It was my coin because I tweeted about it. and this is the way the news industry works, not just in crypto, but everywhere. All of a sudden, all these articles get written about, I want my own coin, and that not true. No one's true at all. Like I just tweeted about it, And so what happens is the community ends up getting really attached to it. And I'm very attached to it at this point because I feel responsibility, right? Because I tweeted about it and now the market cap goes way up.
Yeah.
Not unintended. And now I've got all these people that are like kind of, in this coin because of me. And like now if I say it's not mine, I pull out of it, they're going to get hurt, And so like the money didn't matter to me. Like I could have sold the 20, not sold the 20, whatever. Like I wouldn't have sold the 20 at that point because that would have been wrong. But like the money wasn't important. It was the community I'm thinking about at this point.
Yeah.
So what happens is we go through this thing for about a week and with the guy that created it. And basically I ended up just saying, look, I got to take this thing over. Like I need to take it over. People know me. I'm now the face of this thing. And so, we got with a nonprofit overseas and, made it happen. Coins are in our possession now. Started as a meme coin. So just so people know, like a meme coin, the whole point is it's community driven. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. Dogecoin, Shiba don't really do anything. Right. So with a meme coin, it only has so many legs, right? Like I guess it's 4 because those are both dog coins. That's a joke, guys.
Got you.
Guys
I
missed
see
that.
what you're saying. Yeah.
But
Doge and Shiba.
the meme coins don't have a lot of legs.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like those two are the most successful ever. You got
Right.
Pepe that's doing pretty well, but outside of that, like they're pretty much one-hitter quitters. They pop, they go, they're done. I didn't want this coin to be like that. I wanted to build it for the long term. And so you've got kind of 3 different groups of people that are in crypto. You have your meme coin people, which are not your regular crypto people. Like they're playing it like a casino. Then you have your NFT people, right? Your NFT people. And those people are like, they're flipping non-fungible tokens, which, a lot of people know what those are. They're just, digital ownership of an asset that kind of like collectibles or art, something like that. So you got those people. And then you have what I consider myself to be is like, we're crypto utility people. Like we want coins that do things that change. I gave you the whole outline earlier, why our system's broken, things that change that broken system. Right. And so I don't want to be known for a meme coin. I want to be known for something that's going to disrupt the system. And so came up with this plan to basically turn Bitcoin into a utility coin that causes crypto adoption. So we've all been talking about crypto adoption forever in crypto, right? I mean, crypto's been around for 14 years, but feels like forever. When's adoption?
Yeah.
It's kind of thing where the longer you're in it, the farther away you feel like adoption is, right? Like you told me in 2017, like, how long do you think crypto is going to be fully adopted? 4 or 5 years for sure.
Yeah.
Now 4 or 5 years later, you ask me the same question, or 6 years later, ask me the same question, like 10 to 15 years maybe.
Right.
You learn how far behind we are. And so instead of us just sitting around thinking about when is crypto adoption going to be here, what if we actively worked on it? What if we actively focused on it? What if we had a crypto project that the whole point is to bring people on board? We've never seen anything like that before. And so what we call it is a community coin with a purpose. And so the mission statement of Bitcoin is cultivating crypto adoption through a focused community effort. And so what we built here is we built these things called the 4 pillars. These are the 4 pillars we believe of crypto adoption.
What's the coin backed by? Is it Ethereum?
Yes, yeah, it's on the Ethereum blockchain.
Okay.
Correct. So we look at these 4 pillars, and I think these are the 4 most pivotal areas that we have to attack in crypto adoption. Number 1 is public awareness. Like we're getting ready any day now. We're launching a big campaign at Times Square, a big billboard. Well, we've actually got 4 billboards going up. They're going to run for a month. Every I think 24 hours. They're on it's like 15 seconds every 10 minutes. That's how it works up there with Times Square. But it's not just about Bitcoin. Certainly we're promoting Bitcoin, but like one of the messages on the billboard is short the banks if they let you, long on crypto. Like we want things that are going to like put things in the public mind that are like, what does that mean?
Right.
And so what that means, if somebody were to look that up, is the government's talking about preventing people from shorting bank stocks because of all the bank collapses this year. So that's the idea, is let's put things out there and make people look things that are kind of provocative and be like, what does that mean? They go start looking it up. They go to the Bitcoin website. We have the Bitcoin website on there, joinbitcoin.com. And so the public awareness and getting it in the mind of people, because so many people will say this. They'll say, oh, I try to talk to my grandma about crypto. I try to talk to my brother, my coworker, my girlfriend. Like,
they don't get it.
They don't get it, right? I'm telling you guys, what I'm about to tell you is 100% true. I've not sat down with one person in the last 2 years By the time I got done with the conversation, they were not in on crypto. Not one person.
Wow.
Every single person I've talked to, by the time I get out, and I'm talking about in real life. I'm not talking about a debate on YouTube. I'm talking about in real life, a person that wants to know about it, whether it's somebody I'm sitting next to on a plane, or somebody that I'm, an Uber driver, whatever the case may be, because I understand all the arguments. Like, I see all the arguments. I see all the negative arguments, and we're on the right side of history. So it's very easy to break down those flawed arguments, that, only criminals use it, or, it's bad for the environment, or, any of the other, the other millions of narratives that are wrong about crypto that people have out there. I'm able to go in and bust those down and explain why what they believe about crypto is wrong. Right. How actually this fixes that problem. And so the public awareness and getting people to understand the right message, like, so important. So the second pillar is crypto policies and regulations. Right. So we have a lobbyist we work with in Washington. We had a bill we were trying to get before Congress last year before the FTX collapse happened, which, long story, FTX tried to sabotage our bill and all this stuff. But the point is that we've got to get some, like Coinbase, right? Coinbase is always talking about regulation. You know who Coinbase cares about? Coinbase. That's it. You know what they care about? Centralized exchanges in America. They don't care about you. They don't care about the user. I know, I've been in the Capitol. I've talked to people in Congress. And I can tell you this, Coinbase doesn't care about the retail investor. And I'm not saying they're a bad company. And I'm not saying they're evil. What I'm saying is there's nobody out there representing you. Like, there's nobody in Washington representing the investor. Everybody's representing the industry. And so that's what we're trying to become. We're trying to be the representative for the retail investor, for the trader in crypto. Right. That's so getting those policies and regulations correct based on that is something I'm very passionate about. The third pillar is crypto education. So one thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting a copy of my book, Catching Up to Crypto. Also have a new book coming out, Catching Up to FTX, which will be out here in a few months. We're going to get a copy of Catching Up to Crypto, which is based on my 11 years of experience, 2 decades in crypto, like shortcutting the system for you. So you kind of understand it's great for beginners and it's great for intermediates. For experts in crypto, like, you're going to get some hints of nostalgia as you look back at some of the stories from the early days of crypto. But we're going to get a copy of that book in every library in America. And then we're also creating a blockchain accreditation organization to where we can have accredited blockchain education materials that can go into schools because it's accredited. So we're working on that stuff. So that's the third pillar. Because if people can't get educated, right? Like, we can't get a simple financial education in schools. Like, that's why it feels like crypto education is like a really hard road. Like, this may actually be our toughest area. Wow. And then the fourth one is fair crypto news, because the crypto news today is garbage. You have CoinDesk and Cointelegraph, I call them Cointelegraph. Both of these companies, they do consistent paid promotions and paid press releases, and new people coming into crypto can't tell the difference because they put them in little tiny disclaimers. It's like, oh, look at this, is a great website. Or is a great project because they're writing an article about it. No, they actually paid him $20,000 to write that article. Jeez. Then you have number 3, the Block, which was the number 3 biggest crypto news publication, and Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX and Alameda, they paid them $27 million in a bribe last year. So you can't trust the crypto news. And so what we're trying to do is create a fair, I want to say fair and balanced, but that's Fox News' tagline, Like, I want to create a fair system for crypto news to where, like, a lot of the things that are factual based, we're using AI to write those articles. And so people are just getting the information. And then for the things that are more investigative or more in depth, bringing in real journalists. And when they write an article, they're also going to be linked to their profile. So you're going to be able to see, like, what coins this person invests in. Kind of, I don't know how many different parameters we're going to have for this, but maybe like 10 to 20 different things where they just survey, where they answer a question like, do you only believe in Bitcoin? Yes. Okay, well, that gives you a perspective into what they're writing. If they're writing something that's pro Bitcoin, but they only like Bitcoin, they don't like any other coins, then of course there's going to be a pro Bitcoin article. And you can read it through that lens. Right. So that's kind of the idea of what we want to do behind the news side. And so we think with this like 4-pillar like plan of action here that we can actually make a difference in crypto adoption and get to where people understand a lot more about crypto and know why it's a better system.
That's sick. I saw your Twitter just get hacked. What happened?
A couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad, man. That was so bad.
You had 2-factor on your cell phone?
So, the thing about 2FA is it makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons. But when you have a whole social media team and different people have to jump in and do different things, it makes it hard. And the Twitter 2FA is garbage, by the way. I don't know do you do 2FA? Or,
I did the Authenticator app.
okay. So the Authenticator app for Twitter?
I don't know if it's on my Twitter, though.
No, they don't use the Authenticator.
Oh, they don't? Okay.
No, they have their own internal 2FA system.
Yeah, I've never had, but I think Twitter does has a two-phase authentication.
They have 2FA, but it's not a regular 2FA.
Yeah.
It's not through like the Authenticator or the Authy app.
Yeah.
It's weird the way you've got to do it. And like we tried doing it at work and we're still trying to figure out the perfect solution for it. Like we got 2FA turned on now, obviously, but it's made things very difficult for us to operate as a business. 95% of Twitter is me. Like 95% of my tweets are me. Mm-hmm. People don't jump on and like tweet stuff for me. What we do though is we have some things like my biggest sponsor, Steak.com. We absolutely love Steak. They're phenomenal. We have to do some posts every week for them. Mm-hmm. And so I have somebody from my social media team jumps in and makes those posts. Mm-hmm. Like I do posts about them too, but the mandatory requirements we have with them for our partnership, make sure it gets done when I'm on vacation. Somebody's got to jump in and do it.
Right.
When we have a video that posts, somebody will jump in, post a little thing about the video, post a link, whatever.
Yeah.
So doing 2FA, where only I can do it on my phone, it makes that process like very, very, very difficult.
Annoying, yeah.
To where somebody's got to be in the office, they can't be on their phone, and so I did not have 2FA turned on for those reasons. Turned out to be a big mistake. I got SIM card swapped.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I didn't know I had SIM card swapped at first. At first, I thought,
how the hell they do that?
Oh, bro.
I've been SIM hacked too.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get into it, bro. Well, I'll break the whole thing down. I'm actually an expert on SIM card swapping because I did a video back in 2018 on this guy Michael Turpin who had been SIM card swapped, lost $12 million, and he sued AT&T for like $220 million. They lost the first part of it just now, but I think they're in appeals or whatever. He's going to come on my show here pretty soon. But I did this video, did huge deep dive into SIM card swapping, and I was my eyes were open, and it was that video that I made back in 2018, that while, yes, my Twitter got hacked, not $1 of my crypto was touched.
Wow.
And that's because of what I learned in this video, which is that SIM card swapping, so if you think about this, right, like, generally people don't change numbers that much anymore. Yeah. But back in the day, if you got a new phone, you had a new phone number. You couldn't port the number over, right? Yeah. Well, that changed somewhere probably like, 2005, somewhere around there. Maybe it was later. Maybe it's 2010, where you could actually now port your number over very easily. And maybe that was way off. Maybe you do it back in like 2001. I don't know. Whatever it was, there was a time you couldn't do it, and then you could. So what this means is that now it opened it up for people to call into a phone company and say, "Hey, I'm this person. Here's all their information, or here's all my information. I need you to go ahead and send my phone number over to my new phone."
Yeah.
And so once your phone number is sent to that new phone, they can get access to anything your phone number has access to. So Twitter, we'll try logging into Twitter, forgot password. Put in your phone number. Oh, here's my phone number. Yeah. Oh, forgot.
Wow, so you can just call and just transfer somebody's number to you?
No, not actually. Oh. So it gets a little more in depth than that. That's what happened at first. That's how it happened at first. And that kind of is a good representation for people to understand why you need a phone ported, number ported, and how it kind of happens. Well, the thing is that at some point, the phone companies realized, like, oh man, people are scamming this system. Like, we need to put in tighter controls. Yeah. So they started putting tighter controls to where now you got to have a PIN number, you got to have this, you got to do this, you got to do this. You can even call into your phone company, which I've done, and say like, hey, like, here's all, like, I'm a high profile individual. I'm very susceptible to these target hacks. Like, make sure that it's me. But put a 48-hour notice before you actually switch a number. Blah blah blah. None of that means anything, by the way. Yeah. But when they pull up my account, they see all those notes, and so it's organized crime. So what happens is the mafia pays off people inside the phone company, and people inside the phone company port the numbers over for them. About $500 a number, I think, is the going rate. And you get a guy that's making $9 an hour in there. Shoot, make an extra, $2-3 grand a day, porting a few numbers over here and there. Sure. And so what happens is that once that occurs and the organized crime gives them their phone number, you're able then to get access to the Twitter. Well, here is the biggest piece of advice that I can give to anyone about SIM card swapping. The way you get your life destroyed in a SIM card swap is have your phone number attached to your email address. if your phone number is attached to your Gmail address and they're able to get into your phone number, they can go to Google, go to Gmail, say forgot password. Oh, how do you, I need to verify this. Verify you're who you say you are. Oh, sure, here's my phone number. They send them a text message. Boop, boop. Confirmed. Now they're in your email.
Ooh.
And when they're in your email, that's how they get everything.
Yeah.
And they also started this new thing called text bombing and email bombing, which they did to me, which like
So don't attach your phone number to your email.
Right. Do not. Google will make you think you have to. If you go through a regular sign up process, and you will find there's always somewhere on the screen that you can click to say, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But they try to force you to do it. They make you think you have to put it in there, but you absolutely do not.
Wow.
And so anyone who's had your phone number attached to your email account, you need to go delete it now for sure.
Wow.
Because that's the way that they were not able to get into my Crypto.com account. They weren't able to get into my Coinbase account. They weren't able to get into my Gemini account. They weren't able to get into anything because they couldn't get into my email address. And so this text bombing, this email bombing, what they would do is they send me hundreds of thousands of emails in a 24-hour period. In about a 2-hour period, I got about 10,000 text messages to my phone.
Jeez.
That's more than normal. What they're doing is they're signing you up for everything under the sun. It's just you sign up for this newsletter, sign up for this. I'm getting like tampon emails. I signed up for some cool tampon, newsletter.
But they do this all through some kind of software, right?
Yes, they do it through software. And so what they do that so that when they SIM card swap you, you miss the email.
Ooh.
And you miss the text message. You don't see the password resets.
Right.
Because they're just coming in that quick.
So you didn't even know you got SIM swap.
Didn't even know I got SIM card swap. So what happens is somebody calls me and says, hey, your Twitter's done. They caught it in my COO, Cassie. She caught it in of Bitcoin. She caught it in 3 seconds. She was just on Twitter. She saw it. She said, oh my God, you've been hacked. So she calls me.
Wow.
And I didn't realize she called me on my regular phone twice. I wasn't getting the call. She called me through an app, and that's the call I got.
Right.
So I picked it up. She's like, oh, good. You answered. I didn't know what that meant. I was like, yeah, of course I answered, Told me I got hacked or whatever. And so John Deaton, who's another big XRP guy in the crypto community, awesome dude. He had got SIM card swapped about a week before. And I didn't know it was a SIM card swap.
Right.
I knew he got hacked. And I knew he got his account back and it was all fine. And so I immediately knew when this happened, like, oh, the same people that did it to him, they're doing it to me right now. Like, it'll be fine. I get my Twitter account back in a couple of days, whatever. Yeah. So, because I was very confident I was getting the account back. But the problem was I didn't realize is that I'd been SIM card swapped. So the next morning I could take my kid to his baseball game, his baseball tournament. It was a Sunday morning. He plays travel. It was the first weekend he switch hitting. I don't know. Just want to flex. He's 11 and he switch hits. Unbelievable. He went like 8 for 10. But anyways, the point is, really proud, super excited to go to the game that day. We pull out of the neighborhood. As soon as we pull out of the driveway, my phone goes to zero service. And I said, hold on a second. I didn't realize I'd been SIM card swapped because I was on Wi-Fi the whole time. That's why I didn't get those calls from Cassie. Right. I found out a ton of other people tried to call me. I didn't get those calls. I had no service. It was only through Wi-Fi and through calling on apps that people could get me.
Wow.
Yeah. And so as soon as I left my driveway, I realized that. I said, oh no. So I went and I dropped my kid off at his game. His game was at 10:30. So I had to have him there like 9:15. So it was in Rome, Georgia. And so I went and I took him, and then the Verizon store, luckily in Rome, on a Sunday morning, opened at 10 a.m.
Wow.
Which, you think usually on Sundays they're starting to open until 12. So I was waiting at the doors at 10 a.m. Guy comes to open the door. The guy who the manager of the store, he recognized me. I can recognize a pretty good bit, Yeah. And he was like, oh, God, it is you. I was like, yeah, what's up? I got SIM card swap. Need to fix it, And so he brings me in. It made the identification process a little bit easier because he knew who I was. And there was a girl there that was the girl that actually helped me. Like, she was phenomenal. She was really great. But I will say, like, and I don't know how common this is, but she didn't even know what a SIM card swap was.
That's what happened to me when I went.
They don't even know what it is.
Yeah, they didn't know.
They have no clue. That's how rare it happens. But when it happens, it mostly people in crypto, it's or people with high-profile social media accounts. And so the most interesting thing while I was talking to her, I'm explaining to her kind of what happened and that, like, I know the back end of what this is. I know it's SIM card swapping.
Yeah.
I know it's organized crime. I've done the research. And so I'm telling her this, and she goes, you know what? That's really interesting. That makes total sense. Now I understand why they just put us through this training called don't take the bribe.
Wow.
Don't take the bribe. The phone companies know
Yeah.
organized crime is doing this, and they're not telling people. They're lying about it to people. And this is what I learned through this Michael Turbin case, which is the stuff that you sign and you don't realize you're signing is unbelievable. When you sign up with your phone company, any major carrier, you're signing something that says, if someone who works at the company steals your information or causes you financial loss due to information they were able to gain through work, the companies aren't responsible at all.
Wow.
And it says that in
You sign it. Yep. It's a term of service.
They must have added that after they got sued for SIM swapping.
Well, the Michael Turbin case, the whole lawsuit was based on that clause. So it was already in there.
Wow.
And that was 2018. 2017 is when he got hacked, or 2018 when the trial began, or case began. So the phone companies know this stuff's happening. They're negligent.
Yeah.
Michael Turbin was wiping the floor with these people, and somehow he lost at the end of the case. And like I say, he's in the appeal process, and I can't for the life of me understand how he lost, other than corrupt system. It's just a corrupt system.
It's insane.
These phone companies, these monopolies, and it's another reason we go right back to the beginning of this conversation. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, right?
Yeah.
Look at what our country is doing with corporations and banks right now. When I was a kid, I say as a kid, when I was 18, you had a ton of choices on phone companies. You had 10 legitimate phone companies you could go to and sign up with. You had PowerTel, you had, before T-Mobile, you had VoiceStream, you had Singular, you had all these different companies, right? What have we dwindled down to now? 3. We've got T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. That's it. Now, true, you got Cricket Wireless, right? Who's using Cricket Wireless?
Yeah.
You're not using Cricket Wireless. Right?
No,
I'm just saying. Ain't nobody using Cricket Wireless, okay? But if you are, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. There's little pop-up phone companies, right? There's
But then
one,
they just get acquired.
yeah.
Like that guy just sold his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like T-Mobile bought Sprint,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we've seen. We've seen these consistently go down. Now let's look at the banks. You have all these regional banks, right? Well, they're all collapsing. You had Signature, you had Silvergate, you had Silicon Valley Bank. There was a First Republic Bank. All these banks are going down. Well, the government comes out and says, "Oh, well, it's the regional banks are really struggling, but the big banks, like, they're solid." There's a plan to do the same thing to banks that we've seen done to phone companies. Get you down to Bank of America, Citi, Chase, Wells Fargo. That's it. That's what they want. They just want 4 banks, and eventually maybe move it to just one.
I heard 2. I heard Chase and JP Morgan. That's it.
Yeah,
And maybe Apple Bank will be around,
Good.
actual bank itself.
could be.
I just heard those 2. I ain't 4 is a lot.
It makes sense. I mean, I think Citi was included in that group, and then
And
Citi.
JP Morgan owns Chase. So
Yeah.
it'll just
Right,
be a
yeah.
Chase Bank and then the actual JP Morgan Bank. Yeah.
Why are they doing this? Why are they dwindling this down? Well,
Isn't it for control? Like
100%.
it's just like steak over the
uh-huh.
over the industry. They want to control the market. They
They
want to
control the
have
money.
They want to have to say so. Which JP Morgan is at the top. I mean, they're
Yeah.
even in real estate, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
BlackRock.
So, yeah.
Yeah. BlackRock. Well, JP Morgan has JP Morgan has Blackstone, I think.
Yeah.
Blackstone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so Blackstone and BlackRock are 2 different.
they're
things,
different.
Yeah, they're
but
different companies.
One of the guys the guy that started Blackstone used to work at BlackRock.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
couldn't think of a
How
different name.
petty. How freaking petty.
Yeah. I guess that's the story behind it.
Yeah.
I read something about it.
So Blackstone is the real estate arm of JP Morgan.
Yeah.
They're the
Oh,
ones
okay.
that buy up real estate and do rental property and stuff like that. But the whole point is I'm trying to make here is we can kind of look at the banking system, or we can look at the way the phone companies have done this,
Yeah.
and kind of get a good roadmap for what's going to happen to the banks. Okay, so the phone companies, guys, everybody hates their phone company, and you've tried all 3 of them over your lifetime, most likely.
I've only had T-Mobile my whole life.
Your whole life.
Whole life.
I've tried
Wow.
2 of them.
Yeah,
I've been with
had.
T-Mobile 14 years.
Wow.
Wow,
That's my first and only phone.
wow, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
I go back. I guess I'm on my 22nd year of having a phone. I guess 2001. I think was the first time I got one.
No,
Yeah. It was a prepaid phone back then, So I've been with everyone over the years.
Yeah.
And most people tell you they have, especially the business accounts are so bad at Verizon. And you have problems over time. What you realize is, why would I switch phone companies? Because any problem I'm dealing with this company, I'm just gonna go to the next company and I'm gonna have the same problem.
Same problem.
They're too big. They're too big. You'll talk to somebody, they'll tell you like, your billing issue is fixed. And then you get something in the mail saying it's not fixed. And then you call in and they're like, no, we actually don't see you ever called in. It's because they're so separated, because they're so big that when you get transferred, you're getting transferred from one continent to the other. You're not getting transferred down the hall, right?
Yeah.
There's
You
no
transfer from LA to India.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no motivation for these phone companies to give you better customer service.
Right.
Because used to, if you said, oh, I'm going to cancel my account, they're, oh, no, sir. Oh, no, sir. We'll do anything. We'll give you, like DirecTV. I tried to cancel my DirecTV account several times until I finally cut the cord. And they're like, oh, well, we'll give you free NFL packages next year. We'll give you 5 months for free. We'll give you this. I'm like, yes, that
Now
was
you
my
say
plan.
you're going to cancel, they'll just be like, okay, do you want to deactivate right now?
Yep. That's it.
Be my guest.
That's it. Because
Yeah.
they understand you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And you look at your internet service, you look at your cable service, like we don't have choices. There's monopolies everywhere in our country right now.
For sure.
That's the problem, right? There's no customer service. There's no motivation. People don't want to work these lower level jobs. The people that are working them in other countries, they don't care about you. They don't care if you quit the phone
It
company.
seems like it's a form of, actually it is. It's dictatorship.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is.
Uh-huh.
But from a corporate
Yes.
standpoint, they just want to control the narrative, that monopoly, that industry, that whole place. So it's like they're breaking it into like 4 industries that
Absolutely.
are controlled by like 4 or 5 people.
And
that's
think about
just what it
this.
is.
Think about with the phone companies. Like now, if you have control of the phone companies, you have control of all of the communication in our country.
The internet.
Jeez, that's scary.
So let's use that as a roadmap, and now let's look at banks and see banks collapsing. They're going to start doing the same things.
Wow.
I remember like back in the day, if I had an overdraft charge, because I was poor, like I said. If I had an overdraft charge, like I call the bank, and be like, look, guys, like, come on, my account showed I had the money in there. I thought I had the money. I made this charge. It was negative. And they're like, oh, you know what, sir? We understand. Like, you haven't had an overdraft charge in 2 years or whatever. Like, we'll remove it. It's $35, blah, blah, blah. Now, say, hey, like, I have this overdraft charge, whatever. I'll say, all right, switch banks. Like, see you, bye. You're going to pay it. Like, there's no option to drop it. Like,
yeah, you want to close? Well, you can't close your account until you pay your overdraft fee.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it's like they won't help you out anymore like they used to help you out.
Yeah, I agree with
They
that.
get colder and colder and colder and colder, and that's where we're now going with banks.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very concerning. Like I don't know if you remember a couple months ago, there was this thing with Bank of America where there was an issue with Zelle, and all these people were not getting their money with Zelle.
Yeah.
Like they get their paycheck every week with Zelle, and they didn't get it, and they went to the banks and they were like, "Where's my money?" And it was like just a few branches of Bank of America people were in there doing it. It became this big national story. And one day it's going to happen across the country. One day
Scary.
we're going to wake
up
up
and say, "Where's my money?"
Yeah.
And
And
let
you'll
me
be
tell
in
you.
Dubai when that happens.
Well, so wrapping back to Dubai here, I'm concerned. I had a conversation with my wife. I said, look, I'm feeling very in the crosshairs in crypto right now, especially with working with this coin and doing all this stuff. It's like, I'm not doing anything wrong, but that doesn't matter. It's like the pressure you feel. Like Coinbase did everything by the book.
Right.
The SEC still came after them. And it's like, if that's the roadmap, anyone who has ever tweeted or said a word about crypto is in the crosshairs.
Yeah.
And so for me, I told her, I said, look, here's the thing. It feels like an unfortunate situation because I love America. Like I love Las Vegas. I love LA. I love Atlanta. I mean,
But
Atlanta's my
Dubai is
hometown.
better.
I love all these places, right? But look, Dubai's not better for a lot of reasons. Like my switch hitting kid playing baseball, he's probably gonna be the best player in the whole country over there. He ain't gonna have any competition, or he gonna switch to cricket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want my kid to play cricket. I'm sorry, no offense.
Sorry, cricket.
Sorry, cricket. But it's like the fast food over there is not what it is over here. Over here, you feel like eating some junk food. You can really go eat some junk food. Over there, a little tougher to eat some junk food.
It's too healthy.
Yeah, even their junk food doesn't taste like junk food, And like, trust me, I went to KFC, try to get some chicken. It don't taste the same. Like there's comforts in America that I like.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave. I said, honey, it feels unfortunate. We're kind of in the crosshairs here. And like, I'm a little nervous that if I leave the country, like I may never be able to come back. Like that's the truth. I may never be able to come back. I hope I can. I hope that, things change in the next year and a half and things go in a different trajectory. But I told her, I said, look, it feels like right now we're at the bottom of the totem pole and we're having to make this tough decision. And it's hard. But the reality is we're at the top of the totem pole because we've worked ourselves into a position in life to where we can actually make this move if we want to make this move.
Yeah.
And the way our country is going to look in 2 years, we may look back and be like, we were the luckiest people in the world to feel like we were forced out.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the way that things are feeling. I'm going to Dubai is not necessarily about crypto. It's about what is going to happen when these banks collapse. When you look at inflation, and the thing people don't look at with inflation that is 100% correlation is civil unrest and inflation go hand in hand. When people can't afford diapers for their babies, they get pissed, right? We've seen this in other countries in the world. We saw it in Greece, maybe early at 2010s, mid 2010s. We saw people in Greece. What happened? They cut the government handouts. When they cut the government assistance, hey, wake up on the first of the month, you get that check. You're not getting that check, you're gonna be pissed. So there's been a direct correlation between crime and higher inflation areas, civil unrest, and I live in a part of the country where we defend ourselves pretty well down in the South, but not everywhere in the country is like that. So there's a lot of places, if you defend yourself, you're the one in trouble, even if you got attacked. So
Kelly, yeah. Man, it's been a pleasure. What
Thanks,
what are you trying to promote, and where can people find you?
Look, you just search Bitboy Crypto, you'll find me anywhere. I'm in the world of crypto. I like to convert myself to I'm like the biggest collector of Beanie Babies at a Beanie Baby conference. That's kind of what it is. Like in crypto, everybody knows me. If you search Bitboy Crypto, you're definitely going to find me. I mean, I'm on YouTube, Twitter, everything. Beware impersonators. We got a lot of impersonators out there.
Sure.
I'm never going to ask you for money. I don't need your investments. I don't have time to trade your crypto for you, stuff like that. So you guys can check me out there. The other big thing, just check out Bencoin, joinbitcoin.com. You go to @joinbitcoin on Twitter and be part of the revolution.
Perfect, Wayne.
Yeah, Dubai. That's where we're moving to.
Dubai, baby. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.
Peace.